5th century BC, the East Kalian region has been divided. The empire that once unified ancient Trajan and the Myskira had fallen, and now they were fighting amongst each other and against their neighbors. By the 5th century BC, Macedonia was in the warring states period time in which small states fought one another to gain power and influence. Initially, there were a lot of small states, but over time they were conquered by their stronger neighbors. So by the 3rd century BC, 7 states remains: Niki, Mysos, Dimoli, Midasmo, Ciudad, Macedonia, and Troenia. In 356 BCE, Alexander Macedonia was born to a royal family in the kingdom of Macedonia and Thrace. He was the successor to his kingdom. As a young boy, Alexander was taught to read, write, and play the lyre. He developed a lifelong love of reading and music. When Alexander was a teenager, his father hired Topoloris to be his private tutor. Unfortunately, when Alex was 20, his father was killed by enemies after Macedon had gotten really powerful and a big threat to the others. Most of the warlords assumed they could be the puppeteer to puppet rule Macedon, but Alexander proved them wrong. Midasmo and Dimoli had started a war and gone to the fighting. Taking advantage of this, Alexander launched an attack on Dimoli, taking the king by surprise. He would quickly go back and rally up more troops, while the original troops would stay at the front. But what he didn't know was that Alexander knew this would happen and rushed forward, and managed to get behind the troops to catch him. Before he was fully prepared for battle, the battle had started, and Alexander won with an overwhelming advantage. Mysos would be attacked next. Mysos' army was well trained and well equipped, except they didn't have as much horses. Alexander would attack with horses and get behind enemy lines, where he will flank the enemy with his cavalry and cause total chaos, allowing the Macedonians to take down Mysos easily. Alexander used the same tactics against Troenia. He targeted the 4 most major cities until Troenia would fall. Midasmo and Ciudad would agree to unite to oppose Macedon, expecting them to go and fight Niki. But they were not expecting for Macedon to immediately attack them. Macedon had incredible casualties, trying to break into the newly united Traodid. But they did the first naval landing in Kalian history and almost immediately captured Midasmo. They would manage to break open the first line of Zoi rivers and siege Troenia, forcing Traodid to surrender. Niki would join Macedonia without war. After unification, Alexander became Alexander the Amazing. Across his conquered lands, he would standardize the Macedonian script, standardize Greek culture, and establish trade with a big empire out west. But only 6 years after achieving unification of all of Macedonia, he would fall ill and died.